At 2 a.m. on August 10th, 2021, the entire world was asleep. City lights were fading, markets were silent, and the internet had become nothing more than background noise. But in a small room, a young programmer was sitting in front of his laptop. His eyes were red, his coffee had gone cold, and only lines of code were moving on the screen. He typed one command, pressed enter, stood up from his chair, and went to sleep without knowing that by the time he opened his eyes again, $6 to $11 million would be gone. The largest digital heist in DeFi history would already be complete. Governments would be on alert, investors would be in panic, and the crypto world would be asking only one question: who was this? But the story does not stop here, because what turned it into a legend was what happened next. Just 2 days later, the same person would return every single dollar, without any demand, without any deal, and without any reward. And when the world asked him why, his answer would shake the entire industry forever. Because this was not just a story about theft. It was a warning, an experiment, and maybe even a revolution. On August 10th, 2021, Poly Network was a normal DeFi protocol that transferred billions of dollars every day between different blockchains like Ethereum, Binance, and Polygon using automated smart contracts that were believed to be unhackable because the code was publicly audited, verified, and trusted. But at 2:47 a.m. UTC, an anonymous hacker executed 3 transactions in just 12 minutes and pulled $6 to $11 million out of the system. $267 million from Ethereum, $253 million from Binance, and $85 million from Polygon. The most shocking part was that no alarms went off and no security breach was detected because technically no rules were broken. The hacker exploited a function called ETH Cross-Chain Manager, which verified transactions but did not properly check authorization, like a bank vault that accepts the correct password but never checks if the person opening it is actually allowed to. When engineers discovered this in the morning, total panic began because anything that happens on the blockchain is irreversible and permanent, meaning the $6 to $11 million were technically gone forever. This became the largest DeFi hack ever recorded at that time. The crypto community fell into chaos. Twitter started trending, Reddit exploded, and investors panicked because if a major protocol could be hacked, then no one was safe. Desperate, the Poly Network team posted a public message on the blockchain saying, "Dear hacker, please return the funds. We want to communicate." Surprisingly, the next day the hacker replied, but his message shocked everyone. He wrote, "I am Mr. White Hat. I did this for fun to save DeFi. I wanted to alert the world to how vulnerable these systems are." And that one line changed everything. Chapter 2: The Unbelievable Return. On August 11th, when Mr. White Hat declared himself an ethical hacker, no one believed him. Because how can someone be ethical after stealing $600 million? But then, he did something that had never happened in history. On August 12th, he started returning the funds. First $260 million, then gradually the rest. With every transaction, he also sent messages where he explained, "I could have disappeared forever. I could have laundered this money, but that was never my goal. I wanted to expose how broken DeFi security is. People trust billions to unaudited code. This needs to stop." The Poly Network team was shocked, relieved, but also confused because the FBI was already investigating and Chinese authorities were involved. But now that the money was coming back, the case became legally complicated. The community was divided. Some said he was a hero who saved the industry. Some said he was a criminal who deserved punishment. But most people believed that maybe he did the right thing, because if he had not returned the money, Poly Network would have gone bankrupt, thousands of investors would have been destroyed, and trust in DeFi would have ended. So indirectly, he actually stopped a major crisis. By August 13th, almost $610 million had been recovered. Only a few million remained frozen, which were Tether tokens that had been blacklisted. Then Poly Network offered a $500,000 bug bounty and the position of chief security advisor. But the hacker refused this too. He sent a simple message: "I don't want money. I don't want fame. I just want DeFi to be better. Fix your code. Hire real auditors. Stop rushing." After that, he completely vanished. He never came back. His identity was never revealed, but blockchain forensics gave some hints. The firm Slowmist concluded that he was likely from East Asia, China, or Singapore. His age was estimated to be between 19 and 25. He had brilliant coding skills, but also some naivety, which showed that he was not an experienced criminal. He genuinely believed in his mission. Chapter 3: The Lesson That Changed Everything. Now the real question is what this story taught the crypto industry and why it matters to you. The first major lesson is that code is not law, because no matter how many audits are done, mistakes can still exist. Poly Network's smart contract had been approved by top security firms like CertiK and Slowmist, yet a teenager was still able to take $611 million in just 12 minutes, proving that perfection is an illusion. Because of this, bug bounty culture exploded, and the platform Immunity revealed that after 2021, 2021, bug bounty payouts increased by 400% as companies realized that paying an ethical hacker $500,000 is much cheaper than losing $600 million. The second game-changing lesson was that full decentralization is a fantasy. Poly Network was technically decentralized, but when a real crisis happened, the central team had to negotiate with the hacker and make decisions, showing that some level of central control is necessary in emergencies. And this honest conversation finally began across the industry. The third direct impact was on DeFi insurance, as platforms like Nexus Mutual and Insurace grew rapidly because investors wanted protection in case of hacks. The fourth and most important lesson is for ordinary investors like you. When you put money into DeFi protocols, yield farming or staking, understand that you are basically a beta tester, because this technology is still experimental and not fully mature. So never invest money you cannot afford to lose. Always research whether the protocol is audited, whether the team is transparent, how much total value is locked. Diversify your investments and stay realistic about returns. But Mr. White Hat's biggest legacy is that he inspired an entire generation toward ethical hacking, with teenagers now learning cybersecurity legally, universities launching programs, and companies hiring white hat hackers and paying them millions in salaries, indirectly creating a whole new industry. And today, when DeFi safely manages more than $100 billion in assets, part of the credit goes to that anonymous 19-year-old who shook the world in one night and quietly disappeared. And now this video is finished. See you in the next best video. Bye bye.